Inside this video topic, we'll discuss again a very interesting concept inside this course, and that is how to implement Get Categories WordPress API inside our React application. Let's go back to browser. So we can see that inside this tabular format here, we're getting category ID. But as we know that this post is belongs to some category whose category name is also there inside WordPress setup. So in place of 3, we don't want a numeric value, we want the category name. So if I go inside WordPress setup, let's click on post inside categories. So if I click on this edit link, now we can see that inside this URL, tag underscore ID equals to 3. So this is category ID, which means that this 3 will be something called laptop, because here laptop is the category name. So in place of all these numeric values, we want the respective names like laptop and uncategorized in place of 1. So this is the concept we want to discuss inside this complete video. Before going further, I only request you to please hit the like button to give us a thumbs up to this interesting course, and please do subscribe so that I will be creating such type of amazing and interesting courses for you. So here, before understanding the concept of implementation of category API inside a React application, first thing first, I'll go to this JSON documentation, that is WP-JSON, WP-V2, and inside this JSON document, if I search, let's say /WP /V2 /categories. So also we can find an endpoint, like to get all the categories we can see. This is our API URL, API endpoint, and also it supports get request type. So it means if I copy this base URL, if I type here, and if I type WP-V2 categories, and if I hit directly using get request type, so we can see that it is containing an array of object, and inside this array we have two objects. That is, first one is laptop category, and second one we can find that is uncategorized. And look at here, category ID equals to 1 and category ID equals to 3. So in place of this 3 and 1, if we want to get the category name, simply we have to call an API with this URL. Let's go back to project editor. So inside this component file, now after this fetch post, after this use effect, and also after this post status, let's say that fetch categories, and here const, let's say fetch WordPress post categories equals to, and here first I will go and use try catch block. In case if we have any error while calling that API, simply first we have to log inside our console tab. So this is error. Now let's go inside this try block. Now here, let's say const API response or API data. Here, let's say await, and also I make use like a sync before this function. So async here, await fetch API method. So the first argument value will be the API URL. So the API URL is something like this. Let's copy, put here inside this second value, which is an object. So method type equals to get request type. Second, let's say headers. And inside these headers, I will first pass content type, application JSON, application /JSON, and also authorization, basic keyword, concatenate with like the base64 encoded value of admin username, and admin is the password. Next, after this, what I will do after getting API response, so let's say const API data equals to await API response dot JSON. And for the time being, if I go and console.log, let's say API data, if I save these changes, so if I go and let's reload, inspect here, go to console tab, and also we have to do one more thing, that this function should be called inside use effect. Let's go and call here, save these changes. Now if I go and reload, and now you can see that here we are getting two output. This first one is all about the WordPress post what we have seen. And here we have the second output, that is array of two objects, and these are nothing, these are the categories information. Like if I open this 0th index, we can see id equals to 3, whose category name equals to laptop. Also, we can see at first index whose id equals to 1, and look at the name value, name equals to uncategorized. So successfully it means that we have fetched all about all the categories of WordPress. But here we can see that output data format, we have array of object. But what basically I want that this data will be something like this. Here we'll have the category ID, let's say 3 here, and the name will be called laptop. Also, here we have the category ID 1, and we want like uncategorized. So simply, this is the format what basically I want to get from this array of object. So how to get this format of data? Simply I'll go inside this post list. Inside this, our async function, let's remove this console.log, and here let's say const category object data equals to API data dot reduce function. And inside here, first we have to pass the variable which is going to contain our final output data. So here it will be, let's say, category object, and we have to iterate over single category object. Now here simply category object, and inside this category object single category object dot id, because simply we are iterating over each object. So inside a single object we can see id, and then here we have the name value. So single category object dot id, single category object dot name, and finally return, let's say, category object. So if I go and one more thing, I want this data set into object format. So inside this second argument of this reduce function, simply we have to pass object symbol. So for the time being, if I go on console.log, let's say category object data, save these changes. If I go and let's reload, and now we can see that here we have all the posts of WordPress, but additionally also we are getting an object, and inside this object, look at here, this is our category ID like 1. Here we have the category name, 3, the category ID and the category name. And this is possible because here we have used the concept of reduce function. Now, next after this, what to do, as we know that inside this tabular format of data, here we have the category ID. So in place of category ID, now this time we want the category name. How it can be done? Simply, first I will go at the top of this component file, and here I will create a state variable. So let's say const, it will be something called categories. Let's say set categories, use state, and here initial value will be an empty object. Then I will copy this method name called set categories. I will go into this categories async function, or before console.log or after console.log, simply set categories, and here it will be category object data. So it means that by the help of this data, now we have set this value to this state variable called categories. Now let's copy this state variable categories. Then I will go here into this tabular format and simply categories. Then I will cut this value, array symbol, and this is the category ID. So once we get the category ID, simply we have to pass inside this categories, and on the basis of that, it will return the category name. So if I save these changes, let's go and reload. Now we can see that category name equals to laptop. In place of numeric value 3, laptop, 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 and uncategorized. So successfully, now we have completed one more API call concept of WordPress, and that is how to get all WordPress categories. So friends, I think that this video was also important and informative. So please give us a thumbs up to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing video. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.